Hello and happy Tuesday, which is of course my book reviews day, and today I would like to talk to you about The Spirit of Place by Jeffrey Thomas. This is his new-ish novella that was published last year, 2023, by Earthling Publications. I don't believe it actually has a trade edition yet, so the only edition you can currently buy is this limited edition, limited to 350 numbered copies or 15 lettered copies, but for a nice price of $35, you get a nice little signed book. But anyways, I'll talk more about the book itself at the end of this review. Jeffrey Thomas is an author that you might be familiar with from either his Hades novels or his Punktown stories, but he also has some stories set in the Unnamed Country, which is like a weird alternate version of Vietnam, which is, where the lines between reality and the weird are kind of blended. And I will fully admit that I have not read any of the other unknown country stories that Thomas has done. I didn't even know that this was set in that same universe until I saw it mentioned in Brian Evenson's introduction, and then further hit home within Thomas's afterword. So The Spirit of Place is, I don't know how to classify it. I guess you could call it psychological horror. It's definitely psychological, as it all kind of delves within the mindset of Zuyan, the protagonist, the young woman who has her own tragic backstory that you'll get into as you're reading along, who has found a job for herself in a mall that was built on where a temple used to be, and who knows what was on the land before the temple was there. She finds herself working in this mall and spending her off days in this mall and, well, being fascinated by this mall, but there are strange occurrences going on. Things she's seeing out of the corner of her eyes, the sense that she's being followed at nighttime. Very, very strange occurrences. And she finds herself increasingly fascinated with this aluminum cast, which is actually right here on the cover here by Richard Kirk. It's an aluminum cast or a mold of these ant tunnels that were found beneath the temple that the mall was built on. And she soon finds herself with a small little piece of the aluminum cast that has broken off. And, that just kind of is a prelude to the strange happenings that she encounters throughout The Spirit of Place. Like I said, I don't really know how to classify this. It's not really straight up horror. It's weird fiction. It's definitely weird fiction, to say the least. It has supernatural undertones, especially within the spiritual realm of the Unnamed Country, within Zuyan's upbringing of some ancient gods and demons that she's familiar with, that you'll also be familiarized with throughout the course of this novella. But it's not like your typical haunting story. It's not a typical ghost story. You're not really sure what is actually happening. And you never really get, you do get some answers, but they're kind of vague as they come along. And, you kind of just see the psychological unraveling of Zuyan as a character as the novel goes on. There are some aspects of this novella that are definitely horror. There's an entire chapter that really deals with liminal spaces, kind of like the back rooms, which was really creepy. I really enjoyed that chapter. And there's another instance later in the novella, which I don't think was meant to be horror, but it involves eyeball stuff. It's by no means a spoiler. Zuyan, it's described as part of her character that she has a prosthetic eye. So when I say eyeball stuff, it involves her prosthetic eye. It's not really a spoiler by any means. It's not really meant to be a gross out scene at all. I'm not trying to set it up as being a gross out scene. But apparently one thing I've learned about myself from both that scene in this novel as well as the scene in How to Sell a Haunted House is that I am not privy to eyeball stuff. So, if it was unintended, if it was unintentional in being horror, it really freaked me out within that chapter. But like I said, I don't think that's what he was going for there. Maybe it was what he was going for, in which case, bravo, sir. You really hit the nail on the head there. It's a short little read, and we're looking at 110 pages here, And even though if you're going in looking for a balls to the wall horror novel, you're probably gonna be disappointed. But if you're looking for like a more psychological kind of character study in a way, then you'll enjoy it. I mean, in the 100 pages, I was never bored. Zuyen is a very interesting protagonist. I want to kind of read her story. I want to learn more about her life. So following Zuyen throughout this journey is enough to get you from point A to point B. You know, it's a decent read. Like I said, I have not read any of his other Unnamed Country short stories, so I can't say how it holds up to those. But it makes me kind of want to go out and read those. I mean, I like the Punktown short stories I've read. I still need to read his Hades novels, but yeah, I mean, it's another fine addition to anyone's Jeffrey Thomas collection. As I mentioned, there is an afterword by Thomas at the end of it, which actually shows that some of the aspects of this novel are very closely based on his own experiences within Vietnam, particularly Zuyen, the main character, who shares several attributes to his ex-wife's niece, including the prosthetic eye, which was interesting. It's a very nice afterword to read once you've read the novella proper. As I mentioned, this is only available through Earthling Publications. But you get a nice little cloth-bound book here, nice little end papers, and like I said, it is signed by Jeffrey Thomas. So I think, all in all, it's a really good value for the $35, and you might even be able to find it for a little bit cheaper, just because I know some people are in hard times and trying to sell their copies, so you might be able to find it for a few bucks cheaper as well. But it is still available directly from Earthling Publications for the $35, as well as any other bookseller that might carry Earthling titles, such as Camelot Books, Bad Moon Books, and the like. So yeah, that is The Spirit of Place by Jeffrey Thomas, a weird tale / psychological tale into the unnamed country. That's certainly worth reading for fans of Jeffrey Thomas, or worth reading for anybody who's looking for a little psychological character study into this Vietnam-esque land. So thank you guys very much for watching. I do at least one book review a week on Tuesdays, plus plenty of other unboxing videos on the channel here. So please consider subscribing if you want to check any of those out. Check out Earthling Publications because they do a superb job. Check out Jeffrey Thomas. Check out Brian Evenson as well. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.